Hey, what's up traders? To watch this video here for Monday, March 30th. I'm showing you the SPY here. We had obviously we got destroyed, then a really powerful bounce, then a gap down on Friday where it tried to climb back up, but ending, look, most of the afternoon selling, or most of the selling came in the afternoon. Look at that. So this was the SPY sideways all day, total chop fest. Started to run up into the close and then did that. 252.10 is where it finished after hours. So anyway, this kind of scenario where you had this huge sell-off, big bounce, and then kind of a red day, doesn't afford a lot of standouts as far as looking for charts that I'm interested on, on trading on Monday. But anything can happen. We could open up 1,000 points. We could open down 1,000 points on Monday in this crazy environment. So just keep doing what we're doing, finding intraday A+ setups and trading them. Here is some stocks that I am going to watch on Monday. APT, a mask maker, finally got some big volume coming back in and a fairly strong close. I actually called this in chat. I think I made a video about this, but let me go to 15-minute candles. So this was the opening 15-minute candle on Friday. And you had to see this big spike a few days before that. To me, that told me this kind of has pent-up demand and a possible squeeze. I would call this like a mini squeeze. And then I was watching it, and some of the news out there, especially with New York City, just kind of warrants watching these protective equipment plays again. You hear about it every day, shortages and everything. So anyway, long story short, this was on my brain, this big spike back here. Then you had basically a 2-day high break. This was Thursday's high, and then Friday's opening 15-minute candle high. So I really liked it over the high of day. I just called an opening range breakout over the microphone and chat for those of you that weren't there, and just nailed this thing. It actually went way farther than I thought, but I made a killer trade in it. And so I do want to watch it. Let me pan out a little bit here. I do want to watch it on Monday. If you pan out, I don't know. It doesn't look great. It might retest the highs from this day, might get up to 12, but anything could happen. It could squeeze also. So we're definitely going to keep an eye on APT. NVAX, it's pretty strong. Had this big move back here, the initial gap with the corona, right? And then the secondary move looked like it was giving it all back, and then slowly climbed back up, and then came out with good news related to, I believe, the flu vaccine right here. Couple red days, and now starting to curl back up. So if I switch to 15-minute candles, you have a little bit of a kind of a cup and handle look. It's maybe over 1350 on Monday, but you never know. It might open at $5. It might open at $20. It's a crazy environment we're in, and a lot of different headlines. But that's another one I do want to watch. TCRD had a huge move. You can see it's a relatively recent IPO, and the range on Friday, $1.96 to $3.85. That's a huge range, but settled somewhere near the middle of its range. So we're just going to keep our eyes on that one. BPTH, I actually watched this one quietly all day on Friday. Nope, that's the wrong one. I'm thinking of BLPH. So let me do this one first then. BPTH, big volume spike and a fairly strong close. Worth noting though that the big volume spike wasn't even 1 million shares, so it's kind of a thinner stock. But again, I gotta put something on watch for Monday. CHFS is one of my least favorite stocks on the planet, and if I just pan out, every time this thing gets a spike, you could probably go back 5 years. Every time it gets a spike, the next day nothing. Here, I mean, every spike gets slapped down, especially after this big gap down. So I'll zoom in a little bit now. It's one of those, there's some stocks out there that just never seem to catch a bid ever. And this seems like one of them. And usually those stocks end up on the over-the-counter exchange, right? But having said that, it has formed a nice base here. It is getting some, I believe, COVID headlines. So you had a pop back here that went to 67 cents. Right here, 57, and then finally, let's see, like 59. And then it looked like it was putting in a lower high the other day on big volume, right at 46. But then on Friday, it takes out that lower high and basically goes to 50 cents. Don't get me wrong, I'm not very interested in this one, but the fact that it took out a previous high here, it also did so here and got slapped right. I don't know, I just feel like this thing might actually be coiled for a possible move. But even if it does give me an A+ setup, I certainly won't take that with size. BLPH is the one I was thinking of when I said I stalked it all day on Friday. Had this early move, and we had a possible 2-day high. 1220, and then the early high here was 1220. So I'm watching it all day, but it's just nothing. There's just no volume. Then the end of the day, I literally just watched it do that. It went to 13. It wasn't very liquid at the time it triggered anyway. I didn't take it. But back to the daily, you had this crazy gap up to like 26, sold off hard for 3 days, then a nice bounce, then an inside day, and now starting to curl back up. So I kind of feel like this one could give a little mini squeeze like APT. So I do want to watch that one. All right, BSGM had the big day on Thursday, kind of a quiet inside day on Friday. Sometimes you get a third day play. So I'm going to watch that one. Some of these mortgage companies have had a nice move last week. I've chosen to watch MTG, which had a nice 2-day run and then a quiet inside day. So we're going to watch that one. And then lastly, VAPO, which had this huge move. Came all the way back, almost all the way back down, and then a nice secondary move, but it looked like it was topping out, right? So right about here, you're expecting red day. I would just figure, okay, it's going to go all the way back down, and it's holding up pretty darn well. So I really want to keep my eyes on this one. It topped out at 1842 on Friday. Not even 1 million shares on Friday. So even these biggest days here, it looks like a lot of volume. None of them got to 1.5 million. So something to keep in mind, noting that it's another thin stock. But I like the action here and the strength. That's a pretty short list for me, but hopefully some new themes and some new stocks will emerge on Monday and Tuesday, and we'll find plenty to trade this week. But I'm going to leave my list at that, and we'll add some gappers to it in pre-market, and we'll see y'all in chat room on Monday.